from this point onwards will be central to delivering Ghanaians from this unambitious and overpromising and under-delivering NDC government. I want to start by congratulating you for the hard work you have done so far. In the last 17 months, when all has been said and done, you have been the last line of defense and glimmer of hope for the Ghanaian. You have stood and defended our nation and party to everyone's admiration, earning you the accolade, the mighty minority. Well done, well done, well done. But I have not come only to congratulate you. I have come to encourage you, to strengthen your hands, and to remind you that the role you play from this Thursday is bigger than the number of seats we occupy. You are the parliamentary face of the hope that millions of Ghanaians still have in the New Patriotic Party. You are the expression of the ambition and plans of our party for the people of Ghana. Do not underestimate your place in this moment. In opposition, the Minority Caucus is not a spectator. You are the first line of accountability, the first line of policy scrutiny, and the first line of reassurance to citizens who are beginning to ask whether the promises made to them were carefully thought through or merely crafted for campaign applause and deception. I believe in this caucus. I believe in your intellect, your courage, your experience, your political instincts, and above all, your love for MPP and Ghana.
That's Dr. Bawumia. And I trust that all is well with you. Your night was good and you had enough rest. It's always a very important question I like to ask, whether people had enough rest.
Yes. I had a good night. The weather has been chill for a while now, so
best time of the season,
yes.
Is it not? By this time, the temperatures continue to be very okay. We see yesterday, for instance, barely did we catch the sun. It rained all throughout the morning. By afternoon, it was raining again. By evening, there were drizzles, and so it was smooth like that. And today, there's the expectation as well that there will be a bit more rains as well, a lot later in the afternoon, and all of that. So yeah, it's a good time of the season, I must be honest.
Yes, but whilst we enjoyed the season, I mean, our heart goes out to fellow Ghanaians who are victims of flooding. And it's quite unfortunate.
And boy, yesterday, Frederick, I don't know if you have videos of. I was being told Tema Community 9. There was a video of the entire homes and what have you, all taken over by the rain, and boy, it was not a pleasant sight. I think Sika official shared videos of what had happened at Tema Community 9, and also I saw a video of Ashaiman China Mall, where the entire place had been taken over by floodwaters. We knew that was going to happen yesterday when we were here when it began to rain, and so no surprises there, to be very honest. No surprises on that score. But I mean, it brings back the question: how long does this continue? How long do we continue to have rains come in and disrupt pretty much everything? People's lives come to a standstill. But for me, the Tema Community 9 one was particularly worrying for me because the light was still on, right? In instances like that, what happens is that ECG takes out the power so they can prevent electrocution. But we're finding out more and more as the rains continue to come that areas where didn't used to flood are now flooding. So for a lot of the traditional areas, I mean, for persons who've lived around Bawi and its environs for a while, immediately White Cross, immediately it begins to rain, the lights go because they know it will flood, and there's a likelihood of electrocution and all of that, and so that immediately happens and to as well save lives. But I think yesterday, that video I saw from Tema Community 9, you could see light bulbs still on and the entire area had been submerged. So it left me wondering for a bit whether or not this is a new area which had been submerged, and so ECG officials as well did not know about it. But as a number of persons enjoy that the rains are here, some people have to be looking over their shoulders and asking themselves whether or not they can rest peacefully as well. But anyways, hopefully help reached them, and even as we brace ourselves for a bit more in terms of rain, something can be done. If there's a building in a waterway, perhaps it has to give way so that many homes and my goodness, this is what Accra looked like yesterday. For those of us on Facebook, we can is this Phil, is this not the Achimota of Angkor area?
Yeah, I think this is the
Mouse.
No. It was Taifa Junction.
Taifa. Oh my goodness. So flood waters everywhere. Look at the.
Yeah. Those are heading.
You know, sometimes when you say like that, then you just begin to. You can do nothing but just laugh. So, for our engineers, right? How do we cure this? Because it happens every year. Yes, we hear it. We know it's flash floods and it goes away after a while. But how do we cure it? Is there a special way, or that the drains are silted, and so we need to find a way to clear them? Right? We need to find a way to clear them. This is a story that is a part of us every now and then. Every time it rains, different parts of the capital completely submerged in rain, and it leaves very little to be desired. Very little, not a lot, little to be desired in terms of the flooding situation in the capital. I will have Frederick find that video I was talking about of Community 9, because that scared me. Phil, gates. You know when someone builds a wall, the gate, up to the gate level, or the entire fence wall. Oh, this is flash floods. It's past for the C9 video I saw. Yeah, the entire community, vehicles were almost. I will not say almost. They were submerged. Someone had opened his bonnet, trying to see if. I don't even know what he was attempting to do. And
Probably he was trying to load the battery.
yeah, maybe batteries so that the board and all of that does not get destroyed as a result of it. But I don't know. There's something that can be done in relation to what the flooding situation is like in the capital. But it continues to be one that we talk about, and yet doesn't take us anywhere. And I don't know. I'll share the video so that Frederick can put it online as well for those of us who are interested. We can have a look at in terms of what it's like, but certainly not a great look. Kay is here with me. As we, I don't know, flooding in. You've reported on it so many times.
Yeah.
So many times, and I can't help but just wonder how we've allowed ourselves. And every year when we sit and we talk about this, you can go as far back as our early days as a nation, where the papers were reporting floods.
Yes.
And next year was 60.
It gets worse year after year.
No, is it? No, next year was 70.
Yes.
Was 70, not 60. Next year was 70.
We're 69 now.
Was 69 now.
69.
Next year was 70. And yet still, the problems of old continue to be what leaves thousands thinking every year. That when the heavens open and rains come down, it's almost like it's a part of us now. Oh, it's flooding. It's flooded. So that's it. And then we proceed.
And we're very religious people. Very religious people. But we forget to build our ark before the rain comes.
I'm not sure we need an ark, but let me get into the newspapers. When Frederick finds that video as well, he shared with viewers who are following us on Facebook. That's where we're streaming, and you can send a message to us via Facebook stream as well, where we can do the reading for you as to your thoughts with us this morning here on the show as well, here on the 3FM Sunrise. But that right, this is what the Community 9 situation looked like. For those, that is the entire home, vehicle, everything completely submerged. And you see the lights were on. That's my concern. The lights were on, so you can see the street lights on and all that. Easily, persons at home can be electrocuted.
Yes.
Easily. And so, look at the entire area. The report was that it is Community 9. I don't know where exactly in Community 9, but that's the caption along with the video. And there's a voice there, and the guy is saying that, boy, I can't go out. The whole place is flooded, and so there's nothing I can do about it. And so we are just home. Look, someone has worked, built his house, has 3 cars in their house, and look, the entire wall.
Yes, submerged.
Go if you can. You can go onto Facebook. That's if you've not seen the video already, and it leaves me wondering.
Those are submarines.
No, it goes above your head, literally, as in the flood waters were seen. It goes above your head, and so for an infant, they will need help, and the NADMO fire service would have to have been deployed
emergency response
to have been able to rescue persons who found themselves here, because there's no way you were going to be able to get out. Yeah. In areas like Chado,
imagine having a newborn. It's disturbing. This is disturbing.
Anyways, let's get into the newspapers this morning. The Daily Graphic leads the way. Big banner story: suspend hostel fee hikes now. Rent Commissioner directs tertiary school operators. That story is by Joyce Timbila Awuni. I'll get you details of it pretty shortly. Transplantation best treatment for kidney failure, as according to a researcher. Policy rate stays at 14%, and GCB Bank empowers construction firm with asset financing. On the back page, Ghana's World Cup hopefuls under the spotlight play Mexico tomorrow in Puebla. And there's a first friendly for us tomorrow. That's what the paper says. Yeah, I know they fixed a friendly. I didn't know it was coming off tomorrow with such immediacy. The Daily Post, also one that I have. GCB Bank backs Timeline Innovations Limited with heavy-duty fleet to boost Ghana's big push agenda. Oral not failing. NPP fears officials will go to jail. Dominic Ayene saying this. And on Oral still, prosecution closes its case in SkyTrain trial. has a picture of Mr. Solomon Asamoah, former Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund GIF, and Professor Christopher Amayewa Kumfi, who's former board chair of the fund. Okay.
Yes, and then the New Guinean Times, the most authoritative newspaper. We have the Rent Control Commissioner, Mr. Opoku, whose picture is featured here. He says, clamp down on rent disputes begins as Rent Control Department introduces new policy. And on page 12 of the paper as well, you can see some brand new buses from Metro Mass Transit Limited. It says Metro Mass Transit deploys 100 new buses to ease commuter burden. And there's Mr. Nyantechi, who is asking government to grant clemency to death row inmates. That's Amnesty International appeals to President Mahama. On page 13, Telecel moves to strengthen media ties with the Guinean Times.
The Punch Africa?
So the Punch Africa looks interesting. Ricketts Hagen showcases job opportunities for constituents. It features him on the front page saying 30 vacancies available. We need 30 factory workers. Speaker Gbagbin leads anti-corruption discussions at APNAC Africa meeting. And Senor Hosi speaks out on IMF challenges. We also have MPA Western Naval Command destroy illicit fuel boat in anti-smuggling operation. It features the CEO and members of the Western Naval Command. We have Cybersecurity Authority educates media on digital threats and misinformation as well. Then on Daybreak. Yes, on Daybreak. We have the Managing Director of ADB PLC, Edward Atto Sapon. It features Ghana's IMF exit, new era of financial confidence. Baumia hails MPP MPs, says they are the last line of Ghanaians' defense. And Sexy Redona School administrator caged for bonking girl 14.
Oh.
And then the very last one from our Finance Minister, Dr. Kasil Atoforsen. He says, we are broke. Atoforsen tells financial sector victims.
That's it for the Daybreak as well. The Daily Guide is here. We are gearing to govern Baumia to MPs. He met them yesterday. I'll bring back a bit more in terms of excerpts from there as well. Quite a lot to discuss this morning here on the review, from the rent control to some other matters and all of that. Landlord kills tenant over 30 cedis ECG bill. It's troubling. Yeah. Joanna Quay's role in RNAQ company emerges. I have a feeling this is one that will not go away any moment from now. We'll continue to be bombarded about it going forward. High Court determines Abronya bail today, and I won't push for MP's removal. Who's saying this? Says the story is on page 6.
That's Dr. Baumia.
Oh.
Yes.
Right. So 2 stories from him in relation to that. He says he won't push for the removal of MPs. Policy rate still at 14%. That's according to the Monetary Policy Committee who met yesterday. Mahama calls for African health sovereignty at Geneva Summit. Ministry of Health clears 8,000 health workers. Health Ministry again issues public advisory on Ebola outbreak, urges vigilance. Kenya begins transformation of Nairobi waste management system, and textile waste figures grossly exaggerated. Marvin Owusu is saying this. A few of the stories which certainly will pique our interest. I think there was one about rent control, right? Asking for a suspension of I'll start with that, and then we can get into a bit of politics, because in terms of politics, there's quite a lot from the Attorney General's response to the NPP from yesterday, and what have you. But the hostel story is by Joyce Timbila Awuni, and it reads that the Office of the Rent Commissioner and the Rent Control Department have directed all private hostel owners, facility managers, operators, and stakeholders within the student accommodation sector to place a temporary hold on all or any intended or proposed increment in hostel accommodation fees for the 2026-2027 academic year until further notice. The two state agencies also convened a meeting with all stakeholders to discuss the current development within the student accommodation sector and to collectively deliberate on sustainable, fair, and lawful measures regarding hostel pricing and standards. The meeting will also provide opportunity for stakeholders to discuss concerns relating to hostel fee increments, review compliance with existing rent regulations and consumer protection provisions, explore practical solutions to ensure affordability and fairness, to promote transparency and accountability within the student hostel accommodation. That's a lot of English. That's a lot of English.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. Even for me, I don't know. These days, when I read the stories, I always am looking out for tangibles. That's a lot of English in terms of meetings, right? So, stakeholders to discuss concerns relating to hostel fee increment, review compliance with existing rent regulations and consumer protection provisions, explore practical solutions to ensure affordability and fairness, to promote transparency and accountability within the student hostel accommodation. Hey! That's a lot of English. Well, the Rent Commissioner's Office and the department said the action followed recent continuous hikes in hostel accommodation fees across private hostels within and around tertiary institutions in the country. So this is a good move, right? Let me see if... So Frederick Opoku is the Rent Commissioner. He's been on this at least for the last 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And it suggests something being done in that regard. He's directed a suspension of any potential increase.
Yes.
And so that could mean for students who are going in this, the next academic year, which is going to start shortly. Frederick, when is the next academic year, particularly for like Legon? Right? I think he's still on campus. So you're still on campus, right? In and around. Okay, he's no longer on campus. He used to be on campus. It should be in July thereabout or August. And so it will be interesting to know what students as well will make of this. But your thoughts on the decision to suspend any potential increases, and also in particular a meeting with stakeholders to forge forward on how to price hostel fees. No, I was referring to UK, sorry.
Yes. I think it's an issue, but usually I like to ask, what does the law say? And there's the Rent Act, Act 220. That allows the commissioner to do what he's doing. But I mean, if you look at the rent situation in Ghana, it's disturbing year after year. It's not just about the hostels, but even for ordinary citizens. For the hostels, it's more disturbing because you're wondering how are parents who are already paying rent on their own affording or going to afford all these exorbitant prices. So my brethren from rural areas who come to the capital to get education, how are they going to deal with all these exorbitant rent fees charged by school hostels? I mean, these are students. I think even when we were in uni, It wasn't any different, but at least it was reasonable. So we are hoping the rent commissioner, Mr. Opoku, who has been vociferous and proactive, in this clampdown. I think he also mentioned that he's going to deploy this yellow task force to clamp down some of the crisis within the rent sector. Yeah.
What I can say is great is that Mr. Opoku has joined us via the phone lines right now this morning. Frederick Opoku has joined us. Mr. Opoku, good morning to you. I appreciate you joining us this morning. We're seeing a lot of the work that is being put in relation to hostel fees. The latest is a directive to all hostel facilities, facility managers and what have you, not to increase any hostel fees for the next academic year. Talk to us about this and how you intend to have them comply.
Okay, so Marina, say good morning once again, good morning again, and thank you for having me. And good morning to all our listeners this morning. Yes, it is true. Yes, I have directed that all hostel operators from now should hold on. And this directive came on the basis of the fact that over the years, hostel operators who are supposed to be regulated in terms of increments of their fees have not heeded to the rules of the game. I understand over the years that rent control has been very dormant, have been in their slumber, but after my appointment, I'm of the belief that I am expected to make the law work and to be enforced. More importantly, where the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, believes the rent laws of the Republic has to be applied and applied well. Now, the issue is very simple. I am acting within the confines of my mandate and law, that in respect of Section 10 of the Rent Act, it talks about assessment. What it means is that no landlord, property owner, or investor has any right whatsoever to sit at home at will and increase rent arbitrarily. Over the years, we have not been able to check this, and people think that there's no law in this country. Gradually, Ghana is becoming a lawless state in terms of rent issues. And for me as a commissioner, I believe it must be stopped. Now, I tried as much as possible after I received a petition from NUCS, the student body, about the insistent increments of rent. And I think that something ought to be done about that. In fact, they even went to the extent in their petition pinpointing to me the laws of rent, where I have to do assessment and investigate.
Who are those pinpointing to you? The hostel managers?
The NUCS. They petitioned me.
Right.
In the petition, they pinpointed that, yes, Mr. Commissioner, you are in charge of regulating the law. The law requires that you do A, B, or C, which I also knew. So I took it like they really have invoked the section and the powers of the Rent Act. And I had nothing to do that to get down. That led to me leading a group of rent control people to the hostels to understand. You know, as a regulator, when somebody comes to report, you don't just sit at your office and be giving orders. I needed to get down. I got down, went to one or two hostels, UPSA, Legon, and what have you, went to KNUST, and the pattern I saw was the same. The question was, how did they arrive at what they are charging? The law says, come and be assessed, and after assessment, they put into other considerations. For example, any maintenance done? Have you bought the cement? Have you bought cement? Have you bought iron rods? Have you painted your property? What kind of works are you doing over there? That is warranting you to increase. If we all ascertain that, then we are good to go. Then none of them indeed have complied. So I said, okay, having seen that, I won't say reduce it, but hold on where you are. Let us engage, which I have asked. By next week, we are putting letters through to invite all of them. Engage. After engagement, I'm inviting expertise from Ghana Institute of Surveyors to value and to assess. And after assessment, we want to know how long has your hotel existed. We want to look at it, where it's situated, what maintenance you do over there, and just oppose it with whatever you are renting out. And based on that, we'll come out with something. So I say, let us engage. After that, all hotels across the country will be assessed. That is when the indefinite list will be taken out. After you are not, if you are not assessed, you cannot increase nothing. And even if you are assessed and we agree on something, after 2 years by law, you cannot increase. That is what the law says. And that's exactly why I'm asking them to hold on. I'm acting in the confines of law. My action is not to, disincentivize investors of investing, but they must play within the confines of the law. You cannot take the law out and talk about demand and supply. I don't even hear that word. No, demand and supply is not in any part of our books. It is a mindset. And people believe that they are using that word demand and supply to pave their way through and manipulate the system. Yes, there are shortages. But in as much as it is, you have to be assessed. Now, that is my stand.
Right. From this directive, is it your understanding that the facility managers have responded to you after this directive went? Well, first off, when did the directive go? Let me start off from there. When did you? Was it a written notice to all of the hostel owners, facility managers, or it was just a fiat which has been put out in the public?
It's a fiat. First of all, I issued a public statement. Now, I'm writing letters to them beginning today and inviting them into the room, which means that, yes, hold on. In the letters by next week, I should have engaged them. And when engaging them, as I've told you, at the end of the day, we are going to assess. I must be very frank. That's the bottom line. And that I am telling them through that kind of caveat, what I have issues, that hold on for you to be assessed. But I didn't bring the assessment. But at the bottom line, let me reveal it. That they should let me know what their problems are. Based on knowing their problems or their issues in the room, in the boardroom, then I will let them know where they have gone wrong. Maybe they didn't know. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. However, be as it may, we are there with human beings. So therefore, engaging, educating, sensitizing, and creating awareness in this scope will enable us to what? Even have good relationship. So when I went to the hostel, Maruna, I never used any Rambo style. I didn't go to lock anything, to enforce anything. But I went there to do fact finding. And what I found was worrying. And that's why I'm doing what I've done.
Right. So you begin writing to the facility managers today, and these are hostels across the country, or you're targeting those only in the capital Accra? Because we know in Kumasi, there's in Cape Coast, wherever you find a university, there are hostel facilities, and the concerns are cut across there.
As we speak now, yesterday I went to Ghana Tourism Authority, and the institution responsible for registering them, and I have all hostels in good standing who are registered, and it's with me. And trust me, I also found one or two of them I visited who are not in the books of GTA. It means they are operating illegally in the first place. And those hostels will be closed down immediately when I stepped out. Because you see, we cannot allow people to just sit down, build properties, target as hostels, exploit, manipulate, steal, and just begin what pleases them, and nothing catches up with them. If you say you are a hostel, you should be registered. I can see and I found, I won't mention him. I want to go back to the GTA and confirm what I found in the booklet, so that when they confirm that they are not registered, then the next action will follow. And all those hotels will be closed down.
So we know a number of hostels which are not registered and are still operating. Do we know the number? Can you tell us how many per your surveying and your going around? How many of these hostels we've been able to identify which are not registered and are operating and are charging fees as well?
Under study, so I wouldn't move too fast to mention any figures here. I know I have started one I didn't see. As I said, I didn't register them. So I can't just maybe an oversight. Let me be very charitable. I don't want to do anything that would be illegal or something. Let me just go and check. And when I check and I found the few that I visited, I'll publish their names that they are not registered.
How has the collaboration as well been between yourself and the GTA, the Ghana Tourism Authority, where these hostels are supposed to have registered? Because you need their partnership as well to identify facilities which are registered under them. Have they been cooperative?
In fact, it is so cordial. Let me believe you. I've met the deputy director in charge of administration, in charge of operations. I'm here to meet the CEO. We are in good, we are all public institutions and we need to work together. And I believe in institutional collaboration. I am telling you for sure, what I'm doing today, GTA is in support of it. It will also strengthen their work. And very soon, when I'm going on the field, it will never be me alone. We are agreeing. Very soon, we may even come with the MOU for Ghanaians to know that I'm not operating in isolation and I'm not assigning them. We are working together. Without them, I cannot achieve what I want to achieve. And without me, they can also achieve what they want to achieve. Right. So let me be very frank that I am working with them. You can even call them to verify. I went there and they themselves gave me the document I'm holding. I didn't went and search for it because I thought I should work with them. And trust me, they are okay to work with me. Right.
A few quick questions as well in relation to this conversation. So we're working to have a meeting, a conference of some sort with hostel owners, facility managers in the coming weeks. But we know that school is resuming on Sunday for the second semester in Legon, for instance. But the next academic year possibly could be somewhere September, thereabout. Are we confident that between now and then, we would have rectified all challenges and smoothened the conversations to ensure that students will not be charged astronomical fees by the time the next academic calendar comes around?
Okay, Mauna, as we speak, on Tuesday, I'm launching a platform and with students across the country, SLC leadership and NUCs. It tells you how serious I am. That the directive that hold on, we are going to open a portal, which is by Tuesday, launch it publicly for everybody to see. After that, I expect students who have seen or experiencing new increments or charges to report. And when they report, trust me, we are going straight to the hostel and that they are in breach of the law. More importantly, while they have perpetrated in illegality over the years, and I've been reminding you that you have heard, and you still think you want to defy the directive, it means you want to fight the state. And if you want to fight the state, let's see how it goes. I believe that through your mediums and all of you, the media, you have carried out this issue so much that even an ant in its habitat is aware, has heard it. So if they pretend they have not heard, I will pretend as if I don't know them. And I will crush them, trust me.
In terms of sanctions, right, what is a sanctions regime like for facilities?
Prosecution. You didn't assess. It's prosecution. It's prosecution. And more importantly, if you are not registered, it's closure. Simple. It's two things. Prosecution and closure.
Right.
We're going to see a lot of prosecution. People who think that they are above the law, they have to succumb to the law. They can never be bigger than the law, and they must respect the law.
Absolutely. Mr. Opoku, I appreciate you speaking to us, and I'm very confident we'll be speaking a bit more in the coming days and
sure.
weeks as well, particularly after you launch that portal next week where students can
I think we are going to invite all of you to be part and so that you can see it clearly.
Absolutely.
And you will be part that these are the steps. We are putting measures in place that every directive followed, every given cannot be defied.
Right. I appreciate you for joining us this morning. That's Frederick Opoku. He's the Rent Commissioner speaking to us this morning. So what? Next week, they are launching a portal where students can go on to and report instances of hikes in hostel facilities or hostel fees, and then some action can be taken as well. In relation to that. Let me return to my guys in the studio as well. Just quick thoughts on what Mr. Opoku has been telling us via the phone lines this morning about what they are doing to deal with rent prices and all of that.
Eric Mayonagbeta. Fantastic guy. This CTO, is it a uniform or something?
It's a uniform, as I always say. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what goes on and what happens around here. And fantastic guy as always. Yeah.
The listeners are happy. the listeners are happy and are glad. But as well, quick thoughts on what we've been hearing from
Mr.
from Mr. Opoku.
I think he's doing a marvelous job. If I look at the sentiment analysis across all social media platforms, I think Ghanaians are impressed with what he's doing. He appears to be one of the most vibrant commissioners of the institution. and Ghanaians are proud of him. He should keep doing what he does. We pray that he sticks to the confines of law in carrying out his mandate to ensure that students and, ordinary Ghanaians are treated fairly and get value for money. I think it's not just about the increments and stuff. Sometimes we should be asking what value exchange, exists. You hear the demand and supply conversation, but how about the value exchange conversation? Because you look at a facility that is up to no good. Being rented out for an exorbitant amount, and you're wondering what went wrong. Is it that people just want to
and
exploit?
for some of the hostels too, they are not registered. They haven't. So someone can just puts up a facility and begins to say, "Oh, I have a hostel here," and then begins to charge students, and they've not registered it.
Yes. So enforcement of the law. There are laws that exist in this country, but it's the enforcement of it. That's why I think we usually fall short. So we are glad Mr. Opoku is thinking like a new Ghanaian. Yes.
I like the way you describe it.
Yeah.
A new Ghanaian.
Yes, he's thinking like a new Ghanaian, and he's looking at enforcement. We just want to encourage him to keep doing what he does and do it very well.
Absolutely, and we always have to push them to do what they have to do right. That's
Absolutely.
most important. Yeah.
Right. Let me say a special good morning to Sergeant Banamba, who's, I understand, is an ardent listener of the show. Good morning to you, Sergeant Banamba. He's the media driver for the pressmen at the Jubilee House, actually. And
so he drives Komla Kluchi around there. I should not say that here.
And I got very good word that, look, he listens to us religiously every morning here on the 3FM Sunrise. It said the AKA is 22 cities. AKA 22 cities. Is an ardent listener of the show. Good morning to you, sir. We appreciate you for always making time to listen to us here.
We appreciate him too.
on the 3FM Sunrise as well, and a host of others. Some I mention their name every morning. Lawyer John Baptist Ayaja as well is always a religious listener, and a host of other persons as well.
And Nicholas Jampo.
Nicholas Jampo as well.
And there's also a Reverend Phyllis Bedu.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's an ardent listener.
We appreciate you.
The sun will rise to meet you from the east.
we appreciate all of you who make time every morning to be a part of our conversations here on the 3FM Sunrise. We're going to get into other matters. I see the Transport Minister has been speaking as well, because we here have been asking. Yes, we've been asking about the buses. I'm going to have us listen to him as to why the buses are not on the road.
No.
And then
Let's ask him now. We are not going to
Oh,
ask
he was
him.
asked. He was asked, and he provided some answers as to why they are not on the road.
Satisfactory.
That is what I want us to
so
listen
we should
to.
ask him and let him provide the answer. What are we waiting for?
Right. Here's the Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikwe.
Astus will come and ask us questions. Why didn't we ask that?
A number.
Joseph Bukari Nikwe answering questions as to why the Metro Mass buses are not on the road yet.
If you have a number of buses to 100 and you bring them into the system, they have to be registered. They have to go through all the inspections. You have to train drivers, and you have to now deploy the drivers and do a kind of proper servicing on all the buses so that they'll be able to serve the people. I understand the Ghanaian people. I want to make an appeal that we are almost at the end of rolling those buses out, because everyone will have to be given the number plate. Every driver will have to be trained, and they are currently under training, and they'll soon pass out either this week or early next week. And we are certain that when all is finished, those buses will be released into the system. They came in and they are going through the processes of registration, and they are almost done. Very soon Ghanaians will see those buses being operational. Maybe the drivers will pass out by this weekend or so, and by next week on, we should be seeing some positive signs.
So next week, the Minister says we'll be seeing positive signs of drivers who are undergoing training for onward deployment in terms of the use of the buses?
What are they undergoing training now?
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's a very legitimate question, as a matter of fact.
I mean, we must always be prepared to meet opportunities as they come. So, if there was a plan in place, I'm sure
we knew the
training-
buses were coming.
Yeah.
In
so
fact, we
they
know
should have
an
been
additional
long trained.
100 is coming.
Yeah. So he should come again. I mean, sometimes these excuses don't make Ghanaians happy. I'm one of such Ghanaians because we keep hearing these excuses all the time, and you are wondering, like, that no matter how well intentioned our policy direction and all those things are, somehow when it comes to implementation, it's just very disappointing. How are you training drivers now? So let's say you train 100 drivers, and then after training you realize 30 of them do not have what it takes to drive. What do? You know, you should have done that earlier, so it allows room for, you know, dealing with unexpected circumstances and things like that. But well, we look forward to next week.
I think I can't agree with you any less in certainty, because look, there's another 100 that is coming. By the end of this year, if what we've been told is anything to go by, we should have 300 Metromass buses in the country.
Yeah.
The first one came in over a month ago, I think almost 2 months.
Yes.
Right? And after 2 months, the drivers are now undergoing training
That's the part I
for
find
subsequent
it's-
pass out next week.
It's disturbing. I mean, it's understandable that once vehicles arrive, it will go through a process so that we know that when it hits the road, you know, safety compliance and so on and so forth, and all those administrative stuff. But training of drivers, when the buses are already here, Minister,
Respectfully, you ask him to come again.
yes,
He has to come again
Yeah.
because
he can do better next time.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes it's a learning process as well, but I think he can do better next time. He's not doing bad. I think he can do better. So good morning, Minister.
Next week is the promise that by next week they would have passed out, and so quite interesting. It doesn't also suggest immediately that after they pass out next week, the buses will be on the road. In fact, I have spotted a number of the buses
we
in
must
town.
remove all these bureaucratic processes that just create unnecessary delays. Oh, there are Ghanaians out there looking for jobs. You understand? And there are people who are ready. So are we saying we don't have a database of drivers who qualify? Transport Ministry. We should have a database of drivers who qualify to do the job.
Yeah.
You know, so that when there's the need to deploy drivers to man these vehicles, I mean, it's just some quick.
In fact, I'll ask a further question in relation to
Yeah.
about database, right? Okay, granted, right? Granted, we don't have a database, and we're training drivers now. Are we training just 100 drivers for the 100 buses that are coming? Is a question I'm asking, because it will be thoroughly disappointing if the next batch of buses were to arrive and we were told that drivers were under or are undergoing training for those buses as
Mawena,
well.
will you sit in a bus whose driver was just recently trained? So the impression of we're even training drivers, you know, scares Ghanaians, because how are you going to give a bus to a driver who has just been trained?
and dedicate somebody's life to the person?
Exactly. So
For real?
we must deal with this as a very we must deal with it comprehensively. You know, we don't have to wait to solve some of these problems. We should have a database of drivers who are trained and qualified and meet the regulatory standards, so that when the need arises, it's just a matter of some orientation and deployment. Then we don't have to wait and say that I wouldn't want to sit in a bus whose driver was trained recently. 2 months ago.
But
no,
our
it's
ministers,
not right.
They travel outside. They see the best of lives, and then they experience it. What are they explaining to us? Really?
That we are training drivers.
Really? Oh, come on, please.
I couldn't agree less. I'll be honest. And yeah.
These are the things that allow the private sector to exploit citizens, because when you're not ready, someone else will be ready. And I mean, it may even qualify as not exploitation, because you're not ready, they are ready. I mean, they've got expenses, they've got overheads, they've got banks to pay, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, you are creating room for some of these problems to only deepen.
The trotro infestation, which continues to permeate the fiber of the Ghanaian society.
Our people are the ones who are in charge of everything. They take advantage of everything to do everything for themselves.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to our turn, then they do as enough.
We want a non-partisan database of drivers who are capable of manning these buses. We don't have to wait. Mr. Minister, respectfully, good morning.
We have been asking for the buses to be on the road.
Say that, yeah.
You told us that the buses will be on the road. That's what we're asking for. Don't give us excuses.
And you
Put
see
the buses on the road. Matter close.
You see, the more concerning part is that the announcement of when the buses will come coincided with government intention to ease burden on the pockets of the average Ghanaian. And so we saw interventions by government when fuel prices were going up to seek to they absorbed, was it 2 cedis on diesel, so that transport fares will not be increased.
36 cedis on
and 36 pesos on petrol and all of that. Yeah. As part of the communication, the directive was that the buses should be on the road immediately to provide an alternative, because the trotro drivers were taking advantage of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Now the rains are here.
You understand?
Even worse, the rains are here as well.
Yeah.
So
they are here.
So for 2 months down that line, right? 2 months down the line when all of that was communicated to us, and then we are saying that, okay, we are training the drivers and then do pass out by next week. It wasn't even a firm confirmation, so I said by next week we should hear something positive.
Yeah.
It almost also suggests that we haven't taken seriously.
We need to build systems that are interconnected. Once the petroleum prices reduced and some of these other things, were planned to, they should all be interconnected so that we don't have to be running around. So now where's the value? The petroleum, nothing. Where is the value nothing. Now? And it's raining now. If you're a transport minister, you should be concerned, especially when the rains come, because we don't expect government to solve the flooding issue in a year. It's not something that can be solved in a year.
Said 60 years.
You can't solve a 60-year problem in a year. But we need policies and leadership that is proactive enough to not only be seen to be working, but to be really working.
Yeah.
And ensuring that our solutions are interconnected, because Minister,
it makes you very tired sometimes when you talk about this. But a number of persons as well have been sharing thoughts in relation to the bus situation. Neron de Boanegre says, but how do you train a driver to service a bus if the buses are not here, he asks. And he says it's probably a retraining on the specifics of the bus, including the technical aspect, taking the Ayalulu bus as an example, it's not only about driving, but also about the technology.
I disagree. I disagree.
So that's Neron's thoughts on the subject matter. Also on floods, Paulina and Charlie says, I also think we should play our part in getting these problems sorted. I think in the end we suffer so that we don't try to, we need to stop blocking the waterways and blocking the gutters with trash. Russ Irie says too much concretization of the ground is also part of these floods. The earth is not receiving much water when it rains because the grounds are almost covered with concrete.
Yes.
Very, very true.
Yes.
Very, very true. The construction monstrosities, everybody covers the place with this, and so the water runs.
I think the roads minister has been preaching sustainability, road sustainability. I've heard him a few times mention it, road construction and things like that. So I think in future it's something we should look at, because you realize beautiful road construction, but very poor water.
As in the drainage, the drainage on the road. And you see, for me, I've seen the Awoshi to Pokwase road when it was being constructed. I saw it, and so I see the drains by the side of the road. That when it rains, the small it gets into it, and then after a short while, it just disappears. Everything disappears, right? Yeah. So I've seen that, and so I see the Ofanko Achimota stretch. And I ask myself, what's happened to that drainage system? Is it the case that it's been filled up with silt? Because from time to time you find a lot of sand.
Yeah, if you've seen what the bus stop boys are doing, I think you'll appreciate it better. Most of these drainages are blocked with sand and garbage and things like that. So it only leads me to ask, maintenance, our road maintenance culture as well. I think it's something we should take seriously, because it can go a long way to solve some of these problems. And because there are certain communities that it's a drainage problem. There are communities that are not in waterways but experience flooding, and it's a drainage problem.
You're still here on the 3FM Sunrise. 19 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm just going to have us do two quick stories, right? First, in relation to the NPP and that meeting yesterday by the flag bearer, who says that they are ready to govern. I'll play a quick excerpt of that campaign thoughts, and also we'll hear from the Attorney General as well. But first, here is Dr. Bawumia on how prepared they are to govern.
There are four key things that I want you to have at the top of your minds as you return to the House tomorrow. First, we are no longer healing. We are preparing to govern. We have finished the period of introspection. We must now position ourselves credibly as a party preparing to govern from 7th January 2029. From this session onward, every word we speak must answer one question in the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian. Can I trust the NPP to run the country again? That is the question we must answer. The positions we take on matters that come before the House, the alternative businesses, the alternative business we bring to the floor, the private members' bills we choose to introduce, our comments to the press, and what we participate in, abstain from, or even boycott, must all be guided by one objective: convincing the people of Ghana that they can trust us to do a better job than the NDC and move this country in the direction that ensures growth while safeguarding our country for future generations. This means that our viewpoint on issues and policy must be built on strategy, careful research, and well-crafted messages before we walk into the chamber. I will be directly involved in supporting you achieve this. The entire party is also building a strong architecture to support you through the sector committees, so we can sing from the same hymn sheet and act with a coordinated strategy at every point in time. We must always project this posture, that we are a party preparing to govern. This will send a strong message and well-meaning message to the people of Ghana and emphasize our belief that it is only the NPP that can move this nation on a glorious path and not just propping our economy. We need to remind Ghanaians that we are the party who introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme, the school feeding program, the free senior high school policy, the youth employment program, to mention a few.
So that's the NPP's flag bearer. I think the question from all of what he says is, can Ghanaians trust the NPP to return and lead this country again? It was a question he asked to the members of parliament, and I think it's a question that will pretty much sum up how the 2028 elections will play out. Can Ghanaians trust the NPP again, at least based on what it is that we've seen? Because he says they are no longer healing, they are preparing to govern. And that's the flag bearer of the largest opposition party speaking. Okay.
Yes, I think I would respond to this by referring to an opinion piece I wrote recently. And it says, within the MPP today exists at least 6 visible ideological blocks. First, they are the constitutional patriots. They are members who still genuinely believe in institutional governance, market discipline, democratic accountability, and national development rooted in the Dankwa Busia tradition. They believe public office is stewardship, not conquest. Then there's the preservationist gatekeepers. This bloc is not driven by ideology, but by access. Their politics revolves around control of networks, influence pipelines, patronage structures, and the protection of entrenched interests. They are custodians not of reform, but of stagnation. They weaponize loyalty while resisting renewal. There is also the revolutionary conservative class. Younger, aggressive, digitally aware, rhetorically combative, and impatient with the old architecture of political communication. They are ideological hybrids who understand that contemporary politics cannot survive on nostalgia alone. Some are constructive, others dangerously theatrical, but they represent energy the party cannot ignore. Next comes the institutional technocrats. These are policy-oriented figures who believe governance must be evidence-based, economically coherent, and globally competitive. They often understand the problems deeply but remain politically disconnected from ordinary suffering, making them intellectually respected yet emotionally distant. And the fifth block is the emerging reformist base, the silent bloc, grassroots supporters, professionals, youth voices, frustrated loyalists, the former sympathizers who still believe the MPP can become something better than what it is recently projected. This group is politically homeless within its own party. And finally, there exists the extractionist opportunist bloc. Perhaps the most dangerous faction of all. Individuals whose relationship with the party is neither ideological or patriotic, but purely transactional. They reduce political power to private accumulation, sabotage merit with ego, weaken institutions through arrogance, suffocate reform with incompetence and convert what should elevate the MPP into a machinery of greed, vanity, and internal decay. So this is my opinion on what Bawumia was speaking to. And if the MPP can organize, consolidate, and indeed represent the guardrail they are supposed to even be in opposition, because every country needs a strong opposition. You can have a ruling party, a super majority with a weak opposition. And what they do in opposition now will really inform and impact 2028. So it's not just about the beautiful speeches. The New Ghanaian is woke. The New Ghanaian does not give a damn about what you say in your speeches or at your press conferences. And the New Ghanaian has access to technology. He can research. The New Ghanaian is not sitting at home waiting for you to tell them what to do. They look at their current economic conditions and decide whether it is good or bad for the party. So it's important that we appreciate that there are New Ghanaians everywhere. There are New Ghanaians on both sides of the political divide, and there are New Ghanaians who are neutral. So if they have winning ambitions, as they should have, it's important that they take some of these things into consideration and treat the ordinary Ghanaian, the New Ghanaian, with the respect they deserve and the truth they yearn for.
Absolutely, and
I think that the minority.
It's a question. It's a question that I as well will want to hear a bit more from listeners on whether or not there's trust on the part of Ghanaians to. But quick thoughts just now, because Akosia is here. She's giving me the sign that it's time to do sport. On the AG response, yesterday we were talking about commentary by persons and whether or not free speech was being gagged. The AG yesterday spoke. Unfortunately, I can't bring back that sound because we have to run.
Yes.
That look, there is much ado about nothing, and it's the fact that they are scared their person to be going to jail. That's why they are going round and round, and that oral is not failing. Do you agree with the Attorney General when he says that, or you think still there's an element of concern as to the nature of arrest that we've seen over the last few weeks and weeks?
Yes, I think there's the rule of law, and as much as free speech exists, it should be guarded. We must be more responsible. And I think one of the things that has boldened the conversation, boldened the issue, is the Abronya arrest. But this is a person who has repeatedly, availed himself to some of these issues that a lot of people are talking about. He goes on there and abuses people he's not supposed to. When I say people, I don't mean to say they are a category of persons who are exceptions when it comes to free speech. But we are talking about the justices, the judiciary. We are talking about judges who are supposed to represent the interpretation of the law. So sometimes we must be mindful because the law exists. You may think it doesn't until it's applied in full force. So I do agree with the Attorney General largely that as much as there's free speech, it should be done responsibly. And for the police, I think, some excessive or abuse of
process.
Yes, process, and it's quite disappointing because civil issues should be treated with the civility they require. For the judge, who remanded him on the misdemeanor, I think usually when issues are at the Supreme Court or in any court of competent jurisdiction, you want to leave the judges to interpret it in the best way they can. But I mean, common sense tells us that a misdemeanor is a misdemeanor, and as much as we are not happy about some of the things that are being said,
It's a misdemeanor.
you know, we should also apply the rule of law in solving some of these problems. You cannot make the same mistake, you know, in solving a mistake. You know, so I think those are my thoughts on that.
Right then. 7 to the top of the hour, myself, K. Kujo, Johnny Hughes in studio with you. We're going for sports, after which when we return, we get into the big conversations here because the multi-dimensional poverty report, which was issued, posed for, yes, something to be excited about, but also a bit more in terms of concern for a number of areas in the northern part of the country. Why has it continued to be the way it is one of the many questions we'll be seeking to ask here on the show. But let's get you into sports right now with Akosia.
Well, good morning. It's now time for us to come your way with the sports. My name is Akosia AJ, and there are a number of things we will be talking about on today's edition of the Sports on Sunrise, because Asamoah has been given an important ambassadorial role in Ghana football. We will be talking about that. And somewhere last year around the same time, Asamoah actually came on social media to say some few things, but we will be getting into all that very soon. And so we go into the stories in detail now. In Ghana football icon and former Black Stars captain Asamoah has been unveiled as the ambassador for the national teams and Colts football here in Ghana. The appointment marks a new chapter of national service as he supports the campaigns, the fan engagement and grassroots football development ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Speaking during his unveiling, the former captain stated that he's fully committed to serving the nation and will give his utmost best to help Ghana football reach the highest level.
It's a mixed feeling. It's an emotional night. I think everything comes with time and patience. I've been patient, and there are a lot of things behind the scene that we sorted out, and everything has come to light today. Personally, I've been very, very consistent when it comes to Ghana football. I make sure when I do things wholeheartedly. And this ambassadorial role is fair to me, and I would like to thank the president of the GFA, the Minister for Youth and Sports, the president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for this appointment. And I'm here to serve, honestly, and this is my passion when it comes to football. Football is my passion. I eat football, I drink football, I sleep football, and we are here to develop grassroots football, because when it comes to me, I support grassroots football and the national teams as well. So in the football fraternity, we are here to support and make sure we achieve a lot of great things.
You heard former Black Stars captain Asamoah, who has just been unveiled as the ambassador for Ghana's national teams and Colts football. But at the same event, he also opened up about battling depression a year ago.
about a year ago, I had personal issues which led me to depression. Everybody can go through this stuff, but I was at home one day and my brother told me, president is looking for me. And I said, which president? And he said, Mr. Kretokwe. And then I said, this will let him in.
So you heard Asamoah Gyan, he also talked about the fact that, if you're going through different things in life, just seek help. Also speaking at the event was former Black Stars player Emmanuel Agyemang-Badu, who stated that the Black Stars have learned valuable lessons from their failure to qualify for the last edition of the African Cup of Nations, the first time Ghana had missed out on the tournament in 2 decades. Ghana has been drawn in Group C for the 2028 AFCON qualifiers alongside Ivory Coast, Somalia, and Gambia. Agyemang-Badu believes the Black Stars possesses the quality and experience needed to secure qualification and make a strong return to the continental tournament.
Well, we are experienced when it comes to qualifiers. It's just unfortunate, like you said, we were not able to qualify. However, we have learned our lessons from it. I saw the draw yesterday against Somalia, Gambia, and Ivory Coast. I don't want to disrespect any country because football have really changed. If you don't prepare very well, a small country would outsmart you and put you in a trouble. But I'm very optimistic with the group we are in. This time around, we are not going to fail our country are good. I don't want to found too much of confidence, but I believe that we have learned from what have happened and we will tackle the games very seriously. You don't care if they are Somalia, they are not a football nation. It's a bit tricky group because Gambia have a very solid side as well, and Ivory Coast, they are force in African football. So it will be a tricky group, but I'm very optimistic about our group.
From the senior national team to the junior side, where the Black Starlets finished third in Group D at the 2026 U17 AFCON in Morocco after losing a drawing of lot to Algeria's U17. Although Ghana secured an impressive 3-1 win over South Africa's U17 team in their final group game, both Ghana and Algeria ended the group stage level on points, head-to-head results, and goal difference, with the two sides impossible to separate using sporting criteria. CAF regulations require the qualification spot to be decided by drawing of lot. My colleague Bill Ishen explains how the process works and what the outcome means for the Black Starlets.
Ghana defeated South Africa by 3-1, and it looked like they were going to book a place in the quarterfinals of the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. But something very, very peculiar has happened. Now, Algeria, although they lost by 2-1 to Senegal in their game as well, they are level with Ghana in every metric that you would consider as part of the regulations for the Under-17 AFCON. Goals scored, points gained, goals conceded, goal difference, head-to-head, which ended 2-2 between the two sides. And that would mean that CAF would do something that they've not done famously since 2015. That would be the drawing of lots to determine who makes it to the quarterfinals of the Under-17 AFCON from Group D. Now, coincidentally, the last time that happened, the drawing of lots, was back in the 2015 AFCON proper. Also coincidentally, in Group D, involving Mali and Guinea, they had the same metrics, same points, same everything, and then there was a drawing of lots by the organizing committee, and it favored Guinea. So Mali were knocked out of the tournament, and Guinea advanced to the quarterfinals. So if the drawing of lots favor Ghana, they would qualify as second place to the quarterfinals. If it doesn't, they will not make the quarterfinals, but they'll still have the opportunity to qualify for the Under-17 World Cup for the first time since 2017 if they beat Uganda in the playoffs. And so a very peculiar thing will be happening, and a lot of people will be waiting to see what comes out of these lots.
Well, that's the breakdown of everything happening at the U17 AFCON currently ongoing in Morocco, because there was a lot yesterday to understand what was going on. And I'm guessing, when was the last time we even saw a team's qualification to the next stage of a tournament being decided by drawing of lot? How? And so that's the question that everyone has been asking. So maybe CAF will have to go back to their regulations and possibly do some editing right there. But we still stay with the U17 AFCON, as Laye Kinson, who is the former Ghana international, says he remains open to coaching Ghana's national teams in the future, despite stepping down from his role as head coach of the Black Starlets. Kingston resigned from his position after Ghana failed to reach the final of the WAFU U17 Cup of Nations held in Accra. He has since moved on to work with Uganda's youth national team setup. However, the former Ghana international insists he still has a strong desire to serve Ghana football again and would gladly consider a return if the opportunity arises, particularly with the senior national team, the Black Stars. He made this revelation in an exclusive interview with 3 Sports.
Why not? When the opportunity comes, why not? Why not? It's my dream. It's something that it have to happen. It have to happen. But when the environment is healthy enough, and the timing is right, and the federation understand that, okay, he is the right person for the job. For me, I'm a coach. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do everything possible. Not only Ghana, but other countries like Uganda have seen in me. I was with Ghana. Uganda saw something in me and then bring me to their environment to help. So any other country, if they believe I have what it takes to take them to wherever they have to go, why not? But Ghana I can't be a coach without coaching the Black Stars. And it's part of my dream. If the opportunity comes, why not? I'm ever ready to take it.
So you heard Laye Kinson there, but if before that dream of his is realized, his Ugandan team has to play a playoff game against the Black Starlets in Morocco. The Ghana Football Association has established a landmark partnership with Metro Mass Transit Limited to support the domestic football ecosystem. The collaboration provides reliable and affordable transit solutions for club supporters traveling to and from match venues across the country. Speaking during the agreement signing ceremony, the GFA president, Ket Edwin Simeon Okraku, emphasized the importance of strong systems in football development and highlighted transportation as a key component of success in the sports.
As the Football Association, we have consistently maintained that football development goes beyond talent alone. Talent indeed flourishes where systems work. Excellence thrives where structures support ambition. Transportation remains one of the most critical logistical pillars in football development. And for years, clubs and our national teams have had trouble with transportation challenges, issues that often affect preparations, player welfare, operational efficiency, and ultimately performance. Indeed, today, through this strategic collaboration, we are taking a very, very deliberate and practical step to address these identified challenges. Under the new agreement, Metro Mass Transport will provide a 54-seater, safe, insured, and roadworthy bus dedicated to serving Ghana's national teams, including our gallant Black Stars. The buses, or this new bus strategy, will also support clubs.
So you heard GFA President Ket Okraku there. Now let's do some more where Ghana International Ransford Yeboah Konestoffer has completed a move to German Bundesliga side FSV Mainz 05 from Hamburger SV ahead of the 2026-2027 season. The 24-year-old striker joined Mainz after helping Hamburger SV secure promotion and maintain their place in the Bundesliga during the just-ended campaign. He made 33 Bundesliga appearances last season and scored 5 goals for HSV. The Berlin-born forward, who represents Ghana at international level, arrives in Mainz with vast experience in German football. But before we wrap up, let's talk about what happened in Europe yesterday, where Aston Villa ended their 30-year trophy drought in style as spectacular goals from Yuri and Emilio inspired a 3-0 win against Freiburg in the Europa League final. Let's hear from their coach Unai Emery.
Thankful the supporters, makes sense everything we are doing for them, and how they were as well supporting, following us. Each match we played away in Euro, they were there, of course in Villa Park, but as well away. And like now here in Istanbul, they traveled a lot of supporters to be with us, to enjoy with us this momentum, and this is something fantastic. And we must be proud of everything we are doing, but especially we must give them this trophy. I like to play in Europe. It's my objective, Europe. Of course, Premier League is something challenging me a lot. How we are being 4 years in a row, getting Europe, and as well fighting for the top 5 position is something fantastic. This is my challenge for next year. And as well, we are going to play against Champions League. This is the challenge for the next year as well. And of course, I have won titles in Euro League as this race.
So that was Unai Emery there, the man who knows how to win a final in the Europa League. Before we go, let's do some basketball, where Shai Alexander pulled the Oklahoma City Thunder level with San Antonio on Wednesday as the defending NBA champions won their second heavyweight Western Conference final clash 1-2-2 to 1-3. Oklahoma City is trying to become the first team to repeat as champions since Golden State in 2017 and 2018. The winner of the series will face either the New York Knicks or Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. This has been the sports update on Sunrise. My name is Akusia AJ. Thanks for listening.